what hurts more than being betrayed is being betrayed by the one you trusted the most. Joaquim was once the heartbeat of his home, a playful, loyal dog who never meant to cause trouble. But one day, after returning home a little late from his usual wander, everything changed. The door that once opened to love and laughter stayed closed. His owner, frustrated and cold, turned him away. And just like that, Joaquim's world collapsed. Day after day, he sat in front of that familiar door, his body curled against the cold concrete. His eyes never left the entrance, as if sheer hope could make it open again. He didn't understand that he'd been abandoned forever. In his heart lived pain, confusion, and a fragile thread of hope. Hope that maybe someday his family would realize their mistake. But they never did. People walked past him. Some glanced, most didn't. It was easier not to see the sadness in his eyes. Easier to assume he was just another stray. But one kind soul did see him, a member of an animal rescue team who happened to pass by. She noticed how he didn't move, how his eyes followed every sound near the door, how his tail trembled with every memory. Something about him felt different. This wasn't a stray born on the streets. This was a dog who once had love and lost it. The rescuer knelt down slowly. Joaquim didn't bark, didn't run. He just looked up quietly, his eyes saying, "Did you come to take me home?" And in a way, she did. At the rescue center, Joaquim was greeted with warmth, a soft blanket, gentle voices, and food served with care. For the first time in weeks, someone saw him as more than a burden. But healing takes time, especially for wounds you can't see. The first few days, he stayed quiet. He flinched at sudden sounds, hesitated to eat, and often waited near the gate, as if expecting his old family to return. Every night he would lie down, eyes fixed on the door. The habit of hope was hard to break, but the rescue team was patient. They didn't push him. Instead, they sat beside him, morning after morning, night after night, speaking softly, offering small gestures of comfort. Sometimes they didn't say anything at all. They just stayed, and that made all the difference. Weeks turned into months. Slowly, Joaquim began to change. The first sign was subtle, a small wag of his tail when he saw his rescuer approaching. Then came a spark in his eyes, a curiosity returning where only fear had lived before. He started walking with other dogs in the yard, cautiously at first, then freely. He discovered the joy of chasing a ball again, of rolling in the grass, of simply being a dog. The walls around his heart began to crumble. He learned that not every human would hurt him, that love could exist without fear, that being loved didn't require perfection. He could just be himself. His caregivers often said it felt like watching a flower bloom. Slowly, beautifully, quietly. Gone was the guilt-ridden, frightened dog who once cowered at kindness. In his place stood a gentle, affectionate soul, still shy at times, but full of trust and gratitude. Joaquim's transformation took 40 weeks of patience, consistency, and unconditional love. By the end of it, he was unrecognizable. The sadness that once clouded his eyes had been replaced with warmth. His energy was calm but joyful. He no longer destroyed things out of anxiety. He played, he snuggled, he lived. The rescue team was beyond proud. Their dedication, the late nights, the gentle reassurances, the belief that love could heal, had finally paid off. And then, something beautiful happened. Joaquim's story spread online. Photos of his journey from the lonely doorstep to his joyful days at the center touched thousands of hearts. People from around the world sent messages of love and admiration. "You've restored my faith in kindness," one wrote. Another said, "Thank you for showing what patience can do." Joaquim became more than a rescue story. He became a symbol, a reminder that broken trust can be rebuilt, that even the most wounded heart can find peace again. Today, Joaquim lives surrounded by warmth and affection. Whether he remains at the center or finds a forever home, one thing is certain: he will never be left behind again. He has been seen, heard, loved. To the person who once called him a problem, maybe they'll never know what they threw away, but the world knows, and we're all better for it. Joaquim's journey teaches us something profound. Redemption is always possible. Sometimes all it takes is one act of compassion to change a life forever. If this story touched you, share it. Share it for every animal still waiting outside a door that may never open. Let Joaquim's story remind us all: love can rebuild what pain once destroyed. Thank you for believing in the power of rescue. And remember, where love exists, no heart stays broken for long.